decibel meter for your neighbor outside his house.
Alright. Okay, I think we're streaming. And we're recording.
There we go. Go.
Play them the intro. See, we have an intro. We're like a professional.
Hello, everybody, and
Cool
welcome
shit.
to Music Real Talk with
look on
Marbin.
it.
If
Oh,
you
yeah.
like what you're hearing, please subscribe.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Pro.
Yeah, it's photos.
This is a shit show. Starting off horribly. Alright, everybody. Welcome to episode 112 of Music Real Talk with Marbin. Are you going to look at the monitor the whole time?
Yeah.
Stop looking at that. Danny needs to get used to this new way of doing things. You're looking at it again.
I'm gonna look at it all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It just makes sense. It's
Why?
a screen.
It's a screen? I'm going to hide it. Okay.
You shouldn't
Look at
hide it
this.
because we need to see that it's still recording. Just
It's
don't put
recording.
it on, not
It's
on the
recording.
video, put it on the other one.
Alright. Here we go. Look
Oh,
at this.
I
Beautiful.
also gonna look at this, but yeah.
Just don't look at that.
I'm going to.
Do you want to switch places?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah. Welcome to the Jeff Beck Cry Party.
Let's start.
Are you sad?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
So they don't know how they built the pyramids,
Right.
right?
The Jews did it. Very buff Jews.
Yeah, wait, did I tell you that the other day or no?
No.
Okay, so the problem is when they try to figure out how to they build the pyramids, the problem everybody has their own. That's what happens in a lot of science today. That everybody has their own specialty, right? So they look at stuff from their own small prism, and we need a scientist like me to come and bring everything together.
What did you, how did you
So-
put it together?
Oh, so I don't know if you heard about this. Also, scientist. His name is LK,
Okay.
Liver King.
Oh, yeah.
And
I heard about
apparently,
I heard
if you
about that
have
scientist.
if you have 9 and 10 alternates that our ancestors used to use to get super shredded, so that's what they did. All the Jews ate liver or super shredded. You have a bunch of Liver King Jews walking around in Egypt and just fucking throwing
Destroying
rocks
shit,
everywhere.
just, like, lifting
yeah, lifting
boulders.
them up.
Yeah.
So
I could see that.
mystery solved.
All right. Well,
How funny it is to imagine something like that, though.
pretty funny.
Yeah, all the Jews. What happened?
While you were busy thinking about ripped Jews, the rest of the world got the devastating news that Jeff Beck is no longer with us. And I was so devastated when I heard it that the first thing I did was call Nick and tell him to splice up every little video that I ever mentioned his name.
Yeah.
in-
Or anybody named Jeff.
to where I could maybe catch this oncoming wave of Googling, of social media traffic to in the name of his memory, really. No, but I will say this. I understand the opportunistic opportunity thing, or the opportunistic moment that happens when somebody passes, like Alan Holdsworth. There's like this huge spike in Google, and everybody wants to get some of that YouTube attention and
Yeah.
Facebook clicks and all the stuff that's coming. Somebody's gonna get him. You should get him.
Big
you know?
the other problem.
Yeah, and
Oh, he got it already, I'm guessing.
he got it last night. I watched some of it. It was the most cringe thing I've ever seen. And a lot of it's like him showing a picture of himself listening to a Jeff Beck concert live. Like
Oh.
it's just
Is he hot?
nobody there is hot. In any case, I'll explain where I'm coming from. If you use this moment, acknowledge that you're an opportunist, which is fine. Maybe teach a little Jeff Beck thing, make a little cover, do a homage. That's okay. But what the fuck is up with cry parties? Like, why? I would say that nobody cares, but it's not true. I was looking at it yesterday. After it was up for 1 hour, there was 45,000 views and like a sea of comments on Rick Beato and Tim Pierce doing a live feed, just both crying.
Oh, was he actually crying like with?
They were like
Chico
bummed
Ware?
out.
Yeah, well, bummed out. I can see.
Yeah.
Somebody that you like. He
No,
was
but,
crying when
but
Chico
it was a
Ware died.
it was a cry party. That's what it was about. And like they kept like just name dropping themselves.
Yeah, of course.
And like it's like in this video I did last month. about Jeff Beck. It's like, it's just a month ago. He was totally healthy. On my video, www.rickbeato/Jeff Beck, nobody can impersonate Jeff Beck video. I just couldn't believe it. And it was, the weirdest thing is that, like, you see these men, old men, white hair, and they're talking about it as if they've never heard about, like, mortality before.
Maybe, I don't know what it's like to have music that blow your mind in real time. Like, how old is Rick Beato?
1002?
Yeah, right, he's a vampire,
Yeah.
so it's hard to tell. But, no, I'm saying it's like if you're, no, how old do you really think he is, though?
Pushing
Like 60?
Yeah, I think he's like an old-looking 50-something year old.
Okay, so let's say,
60?
so
Good
50,
guess.
okay, so let's assume like 55 years ago, let's say 52 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, what year was it, 1970? So yeah, so Jeff Beck was probably one of the people that blew his mind when he was coming up.
It's amazing, like this generation that you could play eighth notes and blow their mind.
Yeah.
They had it so easy.
Well, we had like people like Frank Gambale whipping through America. It's like, hey, I learned, I'm playing one string at a time.
Yeah,
And it's
one
like,
note per
career. And then it's like forever, one note per string, one string at a time. And then forever, it's like fusion musician of the future will be like, everybody will be like, oh, but Frank Gambale is so much better.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do love Jeff Beck. He is very good.
Yeah, his stuff is very underrated, but his actually later stuff is better, I think.
Yeah. Emotion and Commotion, I still think is the best album he's ever made.
The Emotion and Commotion is great, and his last album, it's him and Johnny Depp.
I do know that.
How unfortunate. You know what I mean?
That's your legacy?
It's like...
It's like at the same time.
I hope that Amber Heard has like a cameo or two, like she hears shit in the background. But like he probably didn't think that's gonna be the last thing he did, you know what I mean?
No, I probably did not.
Like it's not that... I know it doesn't matter that much, but it's kind of weird, like, hey, I'm gonna summarize my
Career
career.
over this thing.
I don't know why we would even do that. It's like because
You
he's really old. Because it was like movie stars was still meant something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like if we did an album with Johnny Depp, like nobody would care.
No.
Like I feel like it wouldn't even give us one extra fan. You know?
I don't agree. Well, I mean, I feel like nobody would care. I feel like we'd get like a ton of exposure, but none of these basic bitches would.
I don't think we get a ton of exposure. Did you see Johnny Depp?
I actually when I saw him on that trial thing, I realized how long it's been since I've seen him. Because he like looked like they come out of the woodwork after like being washed up for so many years, just looking like battered ladies.
It looks like
alcoholism and the plastic surgery together.
It looks like an old mannequin.
He really looks like he's a real housewife.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, these guys. And Jeff Beck looks like her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's like, it's not, who gives a shit about, what 16-year-old would you convince, hey, check out Marbin, Johnny Depp is singing, Nobody. If they don't care, they shouldn't care.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. But actors really...
They've had their day.
Yeah, and I guess now it's TikTok influencer, so it's not better.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. Like, Mr. Beast is like 1,000 times more famous than Johnny Depp.
He should be, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's his day. He's riding the idiom of the day.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, even a lot of random TikTokers who want to like rate me 1 to 10, those people are more famous now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there are some actors that would really help us. If we could do something with like Walter White, I feel like we can make it work.
Yeah. Walter
What's
White.
his name? Brian something.
Cranston.
I feel like that would be a good fit. Like if we had to like.
Would it though? I just think it's hard for me to imagine. Like maybe NPR would write something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see it. It's just a shame that this is the last one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bummer.
A lot of us people, I always think like, I don't remember what I was thinking about. No, about how it fails. Like how easy it is to fail nowadays. no matter how much you did in your career.
Yeah.
Just because stuff shifted to a format that you're not famous in.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
moving very quickly now.
Did you see Scott Anderson European tour?
No.
Somebody did what we offered Scott a few years ago.
What?
Somebody booked Scott a tour opening for him playing solo guitar.
Oh.
We offered it to Scott like years ago, by the way, in the States. And we ended up not... Yeah, because it wasn't worth it for him. It was like, yeah, because the States for him sucked anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like he didn't think it's worth the risk, and he was worried that Leonardo would get upset and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But now we did it in Europe, which is crazy to me. But
we keep talking about how the world of music is becoming worse and worse. Like, it used to be year to year, but now it's month to month. And it's a lot of machines breaking at once, you know. And since COVID, like, there's this kind of attitude of acting like nothing is wrong and everything's the same, like we're at a return to normalcy, but it's absolutely not true. And like we just heard that our show next Monday is canceled in St. Louis because BB's Jazz Blues and Soup is closing. It's a great place. I mean, I was trying to explain to my wife, because I was pretty like shaken by it, and it took me a second to understand why. Because, you know, because it's just, in one way it's just a venue, but in another way it's a very symbolic venue of like a good venue. I mean, you go there, the food's nice, the people are nice, the booker is the owner and he really cares about the music. He only brings good bands, and he runs the sound. He talks to the people. It's like all the things that you know, he checks all the boxes of like the kind of place you go to for a decent night with music and hang out, and they just in a great location, and they just couldn't make it work. So it's like, think about like all the shitty venues. I'm pretty sure that like about 95% of the places that are still opening are literally just cover band venues that are pretending to still be normal venues, or money laundering operations for the cartel.
Did she understand it?
Huh?
Did she understand it?
No.
You should have used her world to explain it.
How?
Be like, imagine that there is a 3-letter government agency that just all of a sudden shuts down.
What's to stop
What's
CIA to fall once the IRS is gone?
Yeah. That's what all the bureaucrats do, you know. There are so many people working, getting financed by this place.
No, the point.
Like the HR person, the diversity manager, the assistant to the diversity manager. All the secretaries.
I get it.
So many people.
Listen, it's
when you think about it, it's the worst.
it hits closer to home like that when you say it like that. No, but it's so bad. I mean, we're about to go on this like tour, and like honestly, I don't see it going well at all.
Well,
we have a lot of like guarantees and like, you know, private
I feel like
events.
The part with me probably will go better.
Yeah, but
well, it's also a problem because we haven't been active. Just forget Facebook. We haven't been active. You guys, the stuff that happened without me, obviously, it's also a problem. I told you it's gonna be. But obviously, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an issue when people don't know what to expect and when there's a feeling of uncertainty. But it's fine.
Well, I'm
it's
saying
not something we can manage.
beyond that, I think there's something else going on. Like just being around, you know, Reggie's and like, you know, this like. I talked about this before in the podcast, but like Reggie's used to be a booming place. Like to Chicago went from a place went from a place where if you wanted to see terrible bands from all over every night of the week, you could see 3 of them at 50 places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would have like literally 50 venues in Chicagoland where there were 3 bands a night.
Yeah, but nobody wanted to see that, so it was just a matter of time until it's going to be done.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is now you don't have a band, so that's what happened to me when I booked So when I booked the tour that you guys did 99% of it without me, like I just joined for Idaho stuff. No, I did also the
You did a few shows,
North
yeah.
Dakota and stuff, yeah. But when I booked that tour, when in Portland I didn't take a show in this cool venue because I had a venue in what's the other place, like in Washington, Tacoma.
Tacoma, yeah.
Yeah, the venue in Tacoma also had a venue in Portland, so they wanted me to do both of them. And good venues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Very nice.
so I told the guy that I'm not doing it, and he was so upset and tried to convince me to still do it. Like we don't have bands.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I never encountered, like in many years at least, and didn't encounter like a fact that I could not find places for us to play shows in some places. And I did. I ended up finding everything, but it took forever. It was like I worked 1,000,000 hours on that tour. And then on the other hand, some venues were like, I need you to play. And like a lot of venues wanted to play, like the place in Seattle that we play and bring people. He was like, hey, if you can do Tacoma and Seattle at the same time. And I was like, I can't do Tacoma and Seattle, we'll just buy each other.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's
But
the
yeah,
suburbs.
it's getting to a place where like they don't expect people to go, more than
More
5
than
miles.
5 miles.
And and they just need the bands, which is, this new generation of players, they're just not going to know how to play live. It's like it's just not going to happen. Like you're going to have a different kind of player fundamentally. Like I think it's already, like the shamelessness of it already is completely prevalent in the new generation, where you see 'em, like the guys in NAMM from like Polyphia and bands like that, and they play like children.
Sean, that was the band we saw in Austin.
Well, I just remember like
That's
they were I don't remember, I think it was one of them.
one of them.
Thank
I
You
don't know if it's
Scientist.
no,
one
it
of
wasn't
them.
Thank You Scientist.
Yeah, one of those bands. But yeah, they were just like, we were watching one of those, I don't know, they call them fusion, but they're like prog
No, it's not fusion,
metal.
like the prog metal.
Prog
bands.
metal,
Like shred. It's prog, yeah,
shred, whatever.
Guitar shred bands.
Yeah, but like, you see them and they're not at that level of like, a Greg Howe or a Tony McAlpine or a Malmsteen or Steve Vai or something. It's like, it's not that type of player. It's these gamer kids who spend a lot of time editing audio and just never develop the skill to be consistent technically.
It's more than that. I was just I had a small back and forth, like positive one on one of my sax therapy videos with this guy, and I was explaining at the same point that you need to do a lot of things. Like it's easier to learn. I was explaining to him how it's easier to learn 50 or 100 jazz songs than learning 5 jazz songs.
100%.
And it's the same thing with those people. When they just know the few songs that were playing at the show and working on that show. It's not the same as somebody that, like the two of us, that just played 1,000,000 hours of music, and it doesn't, you don't need to work really on any specifics, because you fuck on the guitar from every angle, and so
Even for me, like this year is probably the least active I've been, in terms of live performance since we started in over a decade. And I see that having so much more time at home playing and like, here with Nick making lessons, I start going down these paths, which are practice paths, meaning, and they're good. Like, I feel like we sort of developed this way of like organizing arpeggios on the guitar using like caged and like all this stuff, but like it's related to how I see the fretboard, but it isn't how I see the fretboard.
Yeah.
I don't understand how I see the fretboard. You know what I mean? Like you don't, when you develop a sense of actually playing music, there's a lot of mystery inside your own playing to you. You can pretend that you understand everything about what you're doing, but the fact is that, like, we are improvising, we are just going, like at a certain point, it's a pretty big epiphany when you realize, like, after like a lot of shows, that things are just going to happen the way they happen, and they just unfold in real time. And there is, there's no real freedom. There's just facility, right? And the more facility you have, the more free you are to maybe take a slightly different turn. And when you spend a lot of time practicing, a lot of time at home, a lot of time editing, a lot of time just kind of like playing something to the computer, pause, play, you are using a lot of, you're building these networks that don't survive the actual factory test. Like if you just practice this, working with these kind of structures, these things you think might work live, then you go play and they disappear under your feet. Like you have no safety net, nothing to lean on. And it's like, it's so weird. Like you can practice for a year thinking that these concepts really work, but you're up there with a drummer that plays a certain way, a bassist that plays a certain way, the sound is a certain way, and all of a sudden you're back to just you and the guitar and looking down, and what do you see? What's actually available to you in time? And it's not only mysterious, it's like uncontrollable in a way. Like when you're, we've said this a lot of time in the podcast before, but like, your playing mind and your practicing mind live in parallel, and they feed each other, sometimes in a way that's hard to explain, and you got to have both. But without the playing, it's all practicing, it's all home. Like to me,
think about it, usually the stuff you would practice, and I'm the same for many years, is some stuff won't go right on the shows, and then you go and figure it out at home, which usually doesn't take a long time.
Right.
And then you go back and you play, and then you figure stuff out like that. And then you think about stuff more holistically, and what stuff, like generally what you like to improve in your playing. Mm-hmm. And that's how you really get better. You don't get into like small concepts and then, dive into them. Because it just doesn't, like you said, it just doesn't translate into your playing.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't fit into your playing. That's a problem. Like I remember a lot of times, like you would hear somebody good, like even not somebody great, but like Chad, Lefkovich, mm-hmm. Brown, and it's like, how do you hear him? I was like, oh, let's try and do some stuff that's gonna make sense. And I was like, yeah, but it doesn't fit in my playing.
Right.
Like it's not like our playing can mesh up.
No, your playing won't accept everything you throw in it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And it's also, you have only a certain amount of time in your playing, so you can't really be like, hey, I'm going to put a huge chunk in there. Because it's like you don't have time to put chunk in, and just also put in a big chunk that's not something that's malleable, that you can change and use in every song. To me, if you can't use something in every song, you can't use it.
No, 100%.
So it's like I don't learn licks that have to do with a specific progression and specific place. And it's like I learn stuff that I can just change and just use all the time.
Yeah.
So, it's a different perspective. You know what I was thinking too? I heard this saxophone player today, and I always have issues with it. And I feel like it's easier to, when you listen to it on different instrument, to hate it. Mm-hmm. But I heard this saxophone player today in one of those videos, like, oh, this guy, somebody should tell him what key it is. And it was a joke, like, because he's playing so, like, burning. He was, like, really burning, like, jazz half fusion. He was playing, like, breaker licks on it. And I was thinking, like, I can't explain why somebody that plays breaker licks sucks. Do you see what I'm saying? I can't explain it, because you say, yeah, but it's not a breaker solo. Breaker never played this solo. So why do I not want to hear it? Like, he plays it well, the sound was good, like, again, not the best sound, but the sound was good, and the technique was good, and he had a great time, and he really nailed all the licks, like, you can really hear what he practiced.
Yeah.
But it was so much breaker in so little time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm listening to it, I was like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, no, because it's lame.
But why?
Because it doesn't matter how you dress it up in your mind and how you excuse it. Everybody knows what you are. A sad copycat who didn't know when to break away from the direction he was marching at.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just so obvious to everybody. Like the moment you go from being influenced to active copying, it's like when you learn any lick. A lick presents an opportunity for real learning and a temptation. So that and it's a real simple psychological thing happening. the opportunity for learning is like this lick is constructed of so and so these notes, these rhythms. It's also an opportunity to juxtapose and compare the stuff that comes out of you to that piece of music. Ask yourself, what's the difference between this Coltrane phrase and the way a phrase comes out of me on the same tempo, same harmonic context? And then you can make like these quality, comparisons, and maybe inch your playing up by understanding a difference. That's an opportunity the lick presents. The temptation the lick presents is, I'm going to play this beautiful, like Gollum, like, my precious lick. I'll throw it in and everybody's gonna love me, like they love him.
But
and it's like...
They do in some way, because
but they don't. Because we're here talking about this fucking guy.
We don't. But
but there's something, I'm sure there's something in anybody... Okay, there are people who don't know Brecker, and those are the people that these people get.
No, I disagree.
Or they don't know him well enough, or
I think it's
they have a
opposite.
spectrum. They think Breckerism is a spectrum. I don't think it's a spectrum. I think that people own the sound.
I'll tell you what I think. I think that because how when I realized it many years ago, but that one of my issue was with licks and with doing specific stuff, and that's why we had both of us at this period. Like it would happen to us that we would play too much the same on songs, right? And then we'd be like, we have to stop playing this thing on that part of a song.
Sure.
It would be stuff that we played, but it'd be like
The
we played it every time.
The solos would become like compositions. Not they'd lose their improvised feeling.
At
The
least for
solos
us.
would be like night after night.
And everybody would know
samey.
where like specific places where you would always do one thing.
Yeah.
And I remember the thing that I didn't like about it and that caused me to stop was that when you are worried about execution instead of the level of the ideas, you're already losing.
Yeah.
Because even if I remember we did the show in Gainesville, and it was recorded, and I heard it back, and I was like, it's like even when I execute stuff well, it's still not good. Because it's like it doesn't matter.
It could be good, but it's not interesting. I think that's really
it's not good for me.
It stops being interesting. First of all, this imaginary audience, for all intents and purposes, exists in your mind. Meaning, like, if you can't have the perspective of it's interesting for somebody else if you lose interest in it. Like people will like it because you don't know what people think. So the only thing that's safe to assume is that if you're bored with something, it sounds boring. I don't believe in that perspective of like, it's like, I'm past it, but like they haven't heard me do this thing. Well, maybe there was a time where you found that thing interesting before it became like blah, that you managed to inject that feeling into the music. But if it's gone, it's probably gone for everybody. That's my perspective on it.
But you understand what I'm saying about you focus. Focus on the execution. You focus on the ideas.
Yeah,
because the solo that has good ideas is a good solo. But I'm saying a person like the person that I was talking about, all the people that listen to that, and especially to content on YouTube, it's all other musicians, specifically other saxophone players. So all they look at is the execution, because they all look at Brecker, they all like Brecker, they all play the same stupid licks.
Right.
And that's what happens with jazz. They all play the same stupid licks on the same stupid songs, and then we're like, and all they look at is, he executed it so well.
Right.
Like at 400 BPM, and he did this.
Well,
and he did
gypsy
that.
jazz is a lot like that because they all play the same lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's horrible.
Yeah, horrendous. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it's that's the unfortunate bit. I think that the only interesting thing about jazz playing is seeing people going for constructing, meaningful sentences out of the language in real time. And once you've kind of in your mind have committed to the sequence already, and it's just about nailing it, then you're just, a glorified classical musician with shitty compositions. It's like jazz solos don't sound like solid compositions. It's like the exciting part is that you're pulling it out of your ass, and that's why it's good. That's the thing people are there to see, or used to be there to see. Now they're not there, but You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm hoping that, I don't know, maybe some people will listen to us because we're all musicians, I'm guessing, but I'm guessing not all of them play for a living. I would hope some people would start stuff to... I hope some people would start stuff and try to make music in the real world again. Do you know what I mean? Like venues, shows at home, like whatever it is. Like just find ways to make music work.
I don't know what it's gonna take. I mean, I am constantly at a point where I literally have nothing to look at my phone. Like I don't know if.
What about the guy that asks people to rate him women to rate him 1 to 10?
That's interesting.
And then it's like rate yourself. And then it's like, what's my chance of bagging you? And then it's like 60%. It's like, oh, I like that. Here, let me put my Instagram in your phone. Next video, same thing exactly. What about that guy?
I mean, that guy's a genius. But if I'm just talking about like normal people, seriously, like I have no go-to. Like I hate guitar channels.
Wait, what about the family that I'm told? My sister is told. Or my brother is even told.
Maybe I've just seen everything.
Everybody says that. But you can see it again. Did you see him doing it in the living room? What about outside the house? What about standing next to a car? What about a tree?
Yeah. Well, it's good because you realize how tall they are.
I know, in different... I know.
They look different in different rooms.
Maybe have different shirts on.
It's true, too. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can shine, I guess. But I mean, the people who are supposed to create exciting content that's engaging for me, like I can't see like Mr. Beast. Like, you know, like I see it for like a second, but it's like, I gave $1 million to a guy, you know, fly to Africa and bring me a mosquito. Like, you know, just like, I can't, like the kind of, I get why, I get it. I get why it's like entertaining. It's interesting, but not for me. Like, I just don't have time for that. It's just not the wavelength. I'm too old or something. But also the stuff that's supposed to be for me.
What's
like,
supposed to be for you?
I don't know, like Jordan Peterson or something. Like, I'm tired.
I'm so sick of him.
I'm just fucking tired. It's like communism. Like, okay, God, like, please.
Don't say socialism all the time. I'm going to have to kill you. I only eat beef. Fuck you. I'm sick of him for so many years already.
Yeah, like, all these dudes. It's just
fucking
like...
suits, too.
Like, this...
Every day there's bar mitzvah. Why does that sound like a normal person?
This fucking thing of, like, you're supposed to take in, like... philosophy and life advice from your phone.
I saw something about him like standing with a suit and half of it is like heaven, half of it is hell, and this one is made of cashmere. And I was like, I wish I could punch you in the face like that. It's like, you're so obnoxious. You know what I mean? It's literally like
some
my Bugatti. It's like I'd rather hear Andrew Tate talk about his Bugatti than Jordan talking about his fucking heaven and hell suit.
Some people.
Which one has picture of Jung? Which one of Freud? Fuck you. No, for real.
No,
I cannot stand it.
Some people are just not meant to be famous because they're just like they don't know how not to be dorks.
Yeah, it took everything out of him. Everything out of him. Like all his good stuff was in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like everything now is like. Oh.
Yeah, just talk about Peter Pan more. What happened to Peter?
Everything he did in the beginning was a million times better. His arguments, everything came to the scene. All the reporters started taking him down. All the stuff now. It's like in the last few years, like.
I agree.
Dude, since I remember when I stopped listening to him, it was when he was on Rogan. I sent it to you immediately. It was Rogan and talked about how he didn't sleep for 30 days because of apple cider.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude.
Apple cider of doom.
That's great stuff. Yeah, I was like, dude, come on. I'm not listening to somebody.
He did make it really hard to take.
First of all, you cannot not sleep for 30 days, and definitely not because I drank apple cider and I was in bed and Joe was like, and what was it like? Sheer terror. Apple cider. I was like, dude, I can't listen to somebody like that. Yeah. And he's like, and I think very carefully about what I say. Like, do you really think carefully about what you say? You just said we had sheer terror from drinking apple cider.
I'm saying, so that shit's lame. All the and like, you know, this idea that you're gonna like take some sort of like Yale course on YouTube on the treadmill. It's like
what?
Like, you know, like this like heady like lecture-y kind of YouTube stuff. I can't do that at all.
Well,
Like,
I think we should.
my dad does it all the time. He just like he walks around with like one headphone around the house doing tasks, just like listening to like I think one headphone like in Russian about like the Ukraine situation from the inside, and then like the other one's like some Stalin.
Yeah, and when I
history.
talked to your dad, he was like, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Too many options.
I think he learned that talking is futile. And
Yeah, I know, because he's listening to much of his shit.
no,
Listen, I thought
no,
about
because he's talked to people like his whole life and
Yeah.
had opinions and didn't change. Nothing changes. So
Yeah, I know.
gave
That's
up.
what I think.
I
too.
gave up now.
I think. Listen, I think the problem is. I think we should cancel universities. I was thinking about it long and hard.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because what's the fucking point? They don't know anything. Nobody learns anything. It's school too.
Could you believe that?
It's
Like,
such a waste of time. Go to a job, do like free labor until you learn how to do the job, and then just go. You know
it's
what I mean?
2023. We've been talking about this for years now.
No, not just.
There are
but-
people like today signing up for like Berkeley, being like
No,
200.
not just music school. Every school.
No, I hear
Cancel
you.
every school.
I hear you, but can you like every year that we talk about this, it's like they look out in the world right now and they're like, I have to pay $200,000 to have a music degree. It's a great
But
choice.
talking about content, I saw.
Why
I
don't
just
do
skip-
they have content
but this video,
classes
listen,
at Berkeley?
wait,
They have.
Listen,
They have to.
There's this video.
Somebody Google that, please.
I just saw we just took the clips. So it was a content thing, but it was like, I don't know, probably like 15 minutes, and I just saw the 2 minutes of this one lady talking and the end of it. And it's a thing, I saw a different video of it, that's why it popped up, of people, they put a bunch of people in the room that have something in common, and then they have to rank themselves from least to most. So one I saw was about prison time. There had a bunch of people, and they had to just guess without saying how much they were in prison, just looking at each other, they put themselves in a line who was the most in prison.
Were they right?
Oh, they were not even close to being right.
Okay.
Yeah, never mind. But the one that I'm talking about was about IQ, and they just cut this lady talking shit about everybody else, and especially about that one guy, and about how this guy didn't even fucking go to college, and now I have a PhD, and I'm so this, and I'm so that, and she had the lowest IQ, and her IQ wasn't even above average. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, because that's those fucking people. Because every system you have, it's not just in music, every system you have to go for the idiots. Because it's like, how can you not? The system will fail otherwise.
Right.
I used to say it about
You need the people,
regular
you need the
school.
money.
It's like when you go to regular school, like whatever, and it's true to Israel, it's true to every fucking country in the world. You go to regular school, the people that get A's, if they'll get A's anyway. So
Right.
there is no reason to pay attention to them, right? So the only people everybody is just tested by how many people pass and how many people and the average.
Sure.
So, and the dumb people, no matter what you're gonna do,
They're not gonna get
you're
it.
not gonna get it. So the only way you can fix anything is just take the level down.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do. It's like if you make people actually learn, that's why they stop learning. That's why went from, hey, you have to memorize shitloads of stuff, to, hey, memorizing doesn't really mean you understand. We'll teach you how to think. It's like, why would somebody that has a degree in education can teach anybody else how to think? Those people didn't go through anything. Like, why going to 12 years of public school, then another 4 years of public university? Why
Prepare
would
you to
prepare you to
edify?
teach people
Yeah.
how to think. Like you're Plato or something? You know what I mean? Like you're the Buddha. It's insanity. It's like you can't.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you spent 12 years in school and you're like, I should be a teacher. I should go back to school. It just shows me that
Disqualify you from ever talking
from
to
ever talking to anybody else about how to think.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the mind and you're like, well, I can. It's
Well,
like,
they took it a different direction now. Now it's like now these people are in charge of explaining to you how many genders.
how many genders are. Yeah, I was just saying it's insanity. So yeah, I think just cancel all of it. End of it. You want to do a job.
It took a bad
You
turn.
want to eat. You need to work. Go find somebody to mentor you. That's the only way
I
to
feel
do
like
it.
half the people probably should breed animals and should teach the other people, half the people, how to hunt. Just set them loose.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. Back to my point.
Dude,
Fucking 2023. People still going to Berkeley. People still being like, I'm going to go in 4 years. In 2027, I am going out in the world to be a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
It's like, it's gonna work great. You know, it's gonna be great. Dude, so I was listening to the podcast of Dave from Turquoise. I know you couldn't survive it, but I know him, so it was easier for me. Just talking about the
I
demise
don't
of
much of time. It's just he speaks too slow.
yeah,
Slowly.
it was incredible. Like the place they got to as a band. And when it's over, it's so over. Like they were playing Red Rocks, they were playing with the dudes from Talking Heads, playing massive shows.
They make what almost every band we know make in a year. They're making a show.
In a show, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, lots of zeros. Made. And then
Like
they
not how much we made in a year, but close enough. Close enough.
dude, I just it's just so incredible that like even the most like they were the most successful band we knew personally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, by a lot.
by a lot, yeah.
Like because
And they really-
we're after them.
Yeah, they really broke through. And no, to this thing where it's like, you know, big agency, big management.
Like the machine.
Yeah, they're in the machine, they're doing well.
We're in a machine and we didn't come from a machine.
But it's like it's amazing how this pressure cooker of a band, like how when it blows, it's just like boom, it's over. And everybody's back to square -1.
Yeah, it's easy to see from the outside how
After a
it
decade.
could never work, but from the inside, I'm sure But I'm sure it's also like you can't have what they did, which is everybody has, like it has to be employees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has to be. That's what people don't understand, but we discovered it too.
Yeah, we
It's like
discovered
it
it
has to
really
be
quick.
employees.
Really quick.
They have to, and people don't get it, but it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it has to be like with band like Marbin, or in any band, because you live in like shit, and it has to be employees that are committed and you're friendly and you like each other and you can spend time together. When that doesn't work, it also doesn't work.
Right.
But it also has to be like they know they're getting paid. They know how much they're getting paid, and it's more than that. They know that what you say goes.
Yes.
You know, because if that's not the case, like like I listen to John, but I also when I'm done listening to John.
No,
I'm
you
done
gotta- you
listening to
gotta-
John.
the people need to
and
know
John
that-
needs to know it, and it's good for John too, and he knows it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's people need to know that the country they live in is a dictatorship. Like if the people of North Korea thought that they're in a democracy, it would be a lot harder to run the country. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of bands, you know, they in truth, Turquoise was a dictatorship. It was run by Dave.
Yeah, but
Dave
they
didn't
were
have it,
run down.
but they were pretending that it wasn't. You know, and like the tension when you do that just grows and grows and
It
grows.
was happened to us.
Yeah.
Dude, I tell you guys what happened to us in the beginning. We barely made any money. Like barely made. Like we just me and Danny were like in our 20s. Our drummer and bassist were younger, and we just the bassist was same age, and we just survived enough, like to pay our bills.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's all we had to pay our bills barely.
Barely.
And really what we did was we would go on the road because then we would have no bills. Because like okay we get food.
Right.
You know, so it's like we just need to make enough to pay our rent and to survive, and that's what we did in the beginning. And me and Danny made no fucking money, and we gave our musicians more money. But then when we started to make a little bit more money,
Yeah,
right,
their eyes
I'm
broadened.
talking about like $200 a month. You know, not a month, a week.
Yeah.
Like $250 a month, 400 a month, a week, 200 a week, 400 a week, right?
Yeah.
That amount of money, which
Right.
is
Nothing. Zero.
which is nothing, right? And not even 400, right? And when we would count every penny, like we would write out an Excel sheet and we would write to the penny how much gas was and how much we spent on everything, and we wouldn't eat, we wouldn't get coffee,
No.
like we would save like crazy. But when we were doing a little bit better, their eyes opened up, like why aren't we getting more money? It's like, yeah, because me and Danny didn't get paid a dime until now.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need to make a tiny bit of money, and we all got so
butthurt.
so
Yeah.
butthurt. And because when we started with them, was like, listen, we're gonna pay whatever we can,
Yeah.
which we did.
Yeah, it's very it's impossible. It would have to be such a rare situation for a band led by a quartet led by two people to keep your original rhythm section as you grow past a certain point. Because you have to start from this place of like, we're musketeers, we're all in it together, and somehow transition out of that into some sort of like hierarchy that makes sense.
And I can say also that people have to understand on the other hand, Danny and I, the thing we care about most is the music. We always did, right? And that's a little of the reason why me and Danny, clicked like that.
Yeah.
And we have a really good way of working together, musically and not musically, but we cared so much about Marbin, it was all we cared about, and we still, like with everything that happened, we're figuring out ways to make it come back.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do believe that we can make it come back. If not, we wouldn't have done everything we're doing and investing our time and
Sure.
going crazy. But the other people don't care as much.
No.
It's like, dude, me and Danny care so much about how we sound, about how to make the show better, how to do everything. And other people, they just don't.
Yeah.
It's like they can, like I saw people just mess up the same stuff all the time, or their part doesn't really work, and we're like, yeah, that's fine. Like they would do the minimum they can.
Mm-hmm.
Like so they would put in the effort as far as like they're going on the road and living like shit and making no money, but they wouldn't put the effort of like their heart and soul would be into the music as the way our stuff is.
Yeah.
So.
It's tough. I mean, the biggest form of talent that exists in music is caring about how you sound. There is no, it doesn't matter if you have perfect pitch. It doesn't matter if you are technically gifted, if you can play real fast, if you're a great reader, or if you're a great composer. All those things are really secondary to caring about how you sound and having some sort of like balance between the ability to honestly self-reflect and to just, take steps to solve the problems. Because if you're that kind of person, then it's a lot of layers to peel back. But if you're in an active process with it, over time, you're going to get where you're going.
And I've seen, just in the beginning with Dave Brandon and stuff, it's like, when did you realize you're musically inclined, like you have talent, like you're a talented musician? And he said some stuff about it, but to me, his answer was nothing as far as I'm concerned. But that's what people don't understand, that you have a reaction to music, because I think he is talented. So it's like you have a reaction to music, and if you have a deep reaction to music, and real understanding about what makes the music good, then that's talent. And then a lot of people, they just start playing when they're in 4th grade.
Just hang out.
And then, they go to school, to band, and do all that stuff, and then, I'll need to go to college, I might as well go to music college. And
yeah, it's just inertia.
And those people should not be musicians just because it sucks to be a musician.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks unless you really like it. And when you have your life is fucking epic.
On the live feed I was doing, I was just talking about, modelers and fractal and all this stuff. And I was like this life of being a musician is so hard. You got to really maximize pleasure on stage. Like if playing a 100-watt tube amp feels an amazing sort of way, or you can carry, 50 pounds less and have a sound that's like 30% less enjoyable to play.
It's not worth it.
It's just not worth it. It's not good. Like, you really need to have the best time you can possibly have with those moments here on stage.
I was talking to a bunch of people about that, you too. But because I went, like, you obviously it fucked up your life, but the blow up was in my life.
What? Your divorce?
Yeah. Well, yeah, my divorce and everything that happened.
I actually think it impacted me much more.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying the impact. I'm saying where it started.
Yeah.
And I was talking to, I'm talking to people about it, and not about the divorce, but about the impact. And for my, I don't know what to call him, but my mom's husband, right?
Uh-huh.
He is a very like.
It's called your stepfather.
Yeah, but he's not, because they got married after I already lived here, right?
It's their stepfather.
So yeah, but it's like I didn't grow up with him, so I don't have a close relationship with
Still
him.
your stepfather.
Yeah, stepfather, but
Yeah,
I'm saying,
okay.
just so people understand
Yeah.
that it's not somebody that's like really I'm close to and I grew up with. That's the point. Right? I like him a lot. He helped me a lot in life already. But the point is like very conservative guy. Like as far as he's concerned, he doesn't like, he likes music because he's super impressed by us. Like when he sees us live, like he's not,
Yeah, he's not listening to
But when he sees us live when we saw us in the
Yeah.
shitty place, he was like, his mind was blown. It's like, how can you do it? Like I had to explain to him. But he still doesn't think I should have been a musician.
Right.
And for him, my situation now is kind of vindicates it, right? Because I got really fucked and I had to scramble. But what he doesn't understand that I would never like if you give me like what would have been better use of my life to study computers 15 years ago and be a computer engineer and now have like $200,000 in the bank or being fucking broke and have a life I had. Dude, mate, the life I had so much
Oh, dude,
better.
if I could do it all over again, I would just start playing guitar sooner.
Yeah, I would do.
I would not.
I would make videos sooner.
Yeah,
I would maybe not. I was thinking about what you told me about the East Coast. Like, yeah, it's like maybe I would start. Like, I would do the same thing with touring, but from the East Coast.
Right. Yeah.
Like minor adjustments.
Yeah, no regrets there at all.
Dude, our life was so epic so far. That's why we have to go back.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we have to go back because it's like it's so epic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like no, but you could have had money. It's like don't give a shit.
Yeah, what did you do with money?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it's. I have a little bit of a harder time because I just have a shitty memory. I just don't remember a lot of things that happen. So it's like when you remind me of stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, that was awesome. I did remember. You know what I remembered from the from the cry party. I remembered when we were invited to a cry party. So Nick, there's this. I hope she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Wait, who?
But okay, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But there's this lady who's like
I'm just thinking about
British Indian.
Yes, I knew you were gonna say that.
Or like.
Oh my God, she might be listening. Or husband.
Sorry, but sorry. This is about to get real bad for you guys. Anyways.
But should we? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so bad.
So we're
Because we
super
do like
nice.
you. We do like you guys.
All right. But so we show up. She like invites us the day after the show to have like
After
food.
showing Coeur d'Alene, dude, Coeur d'Alene is like one of the most
Beautiful.
killer, yeah.
So to have some food in her house, she lives in a trailer with her husband, very thin guy, and we walk in. Everett's there. It's like
Everett and Ben was on the
Ben,
other
yeah, and John, and we're all like walking into their like kind of trailer, like strange neighborhood
outside of Spokane, or
Yeah.
in Spokane, yeah.
right outside Spokane, and she's basically holding the food hostage for conversation. Like it's all cooked, but it's like not ready yet. Like, or she's not serving it yet. It's all like tucked away, and we're just like kind of standing there. And she starts talking to us first of all about Trump. She's like, she has a British accent. She calls it the orange gibbon, the orange gibbon, the litter called Trump. Oh, it just like starts like doing this thing for her, and we're all just like standing around like, all right, like it was interesting. And then like Everett's like, you can see he's getting distressed. He's not good in social situations like that. It's like, it's like this is a lot right now. It's like
He also doesn't eat, so it's like so for him, it's like it doesn't matter. There's no upside.
Yeah,
it's like
it's just there 'cause we want free
all of us
food.
fat Jews. I was looking for free food, and like he doesn't even eat.
no, yeah, it's like you ripped. He has like a 24 pack.
Yeah.
But anyways, so and then she
Like he
starts
sneezes and he gets like swole
And
without
then-
any food.
and
intake.
literally like I'm shit you not. We're all just like looking at the TV, and a game of tennis comes on, and she starts literally going like this. Boo-hoo! Boo-hoo! My father loved tennis. He loved tennis. And that's like went into this fucking monologue, like an actual cry party about how much her father loved tennis and kept weaving in how much Trump is an orange gibbon. And we were held like hostage
so
in there
funny.
for a long time.
Yeah,
This was like 45 minutes of this before food was served. Very, very anxious times.
Dude, that was so fun. That was good too.
Yeah, that was fun.
Dude, I love it. Dude, I can't believe my stupid ex-wife couldn't wait until I'd done the Northwest tour with you guys. Dude, I love the Northwest.
Ah,
Dude,
you know.
I booked such cool places. That was such a bummer.
Yeah, it was a good tour. it was already in this like weird post-apocalyptic COVID time, and a lot of the shows, like it worked out to where some shows were excellent,
Yeah,
and then
some were
some
really good,
shows
some were
were
really
like
good.
just weird breweries where.
Well, I really wanted to, because I knew what happened with the tours before, so I was like, I'm gonna get us money. And also some of his places just closed down, so there was no venues. So I was like hitting up those random bars and stuff, and I was
Right.
like, okay, and breweries, and I was like, okay, let's at least get money.
Yeah.
And there was money, so I was like, at least let's do that in new markets,
Right.
you know. And you know what it's like when we do stuff happens.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about Jeff Beck for one more minute, and then let's go. Do you have any emotion when like celebrities die? Do you feel any sense of loss or mourning?
no, that's kind of part of consumerism. I don't think that Jeff Beck is a part of consumerism because you know it's like he made music that's.
I mean, one of my definitely biggest influences and in guitar.
Yeah, but
In a
you know,
way.
an influence is different than, like, you know, I didn't kind of know that Cohen died or Einstein, but it's like, yeah, I was settled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that music meant a lot more to me too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, Jeff
When,
Beck all the time.
I mean, when
when
Alan Holdsworth died, because we knew him personally, it
Yeah,
was
that's
really
what I'm
like,
saying.
what the fuck? But also, it was like, I
Yeah,
couldn't
it was
believe
obvious.
I couldn't believe he
He
didn't
was
die
survived
before.
it,
I couldn't
yeah.
believe he made it through 2012.
Yeah,
Like,
we
that
didn't think
tour,
it's gonna happen.
That tour like, showed up in our room with like yellow eyes. It's like, can you take me to the liquor store? It's like it's 5 a.m. in rural Pennsylvania. Let's find one.
Like, yeah, like drinking like bottles of tequila in the back of vodka. Yeah, it's, yeah, obviously.
But
But,
yeah, it was less of a surprise. But yeah, there was more and more. I mean, I just don't know these fuckers, you know. So it's just
Yeah, but
hard
you
for
know,
me.
when
Like,
you have-
obviously, it's sad for the family. I get that, but like this dance, this thing on the internet, it's
How
just
long are we
so
going,
fucking
really?
gross. We need to go. We should wrap this up.
wait, I have, well, I guess I had a lot more thoughts
What are your
about other stuff.
final
But,
thoughts? Are you gonna go back to ripped Jews building pyramids?
No.
Cows with accents?
No, I have new thoughts all the time about stuff.
You didn't hear about this. The question is
You
like
did a thought.
if cows in different countries have different accents,
We
like a
did.
Japanese cow. Woo.
No, I said if their accent has nothing to do with accents of the people, but I don't understand why you keep saying that.
Yeah.
Just different.
Yeah.
Because they do in different languages have a different voice for the cows.
Yeah.
And the sheep and all the shit.
Yeah.
Like frogs here say rabbit, and in Israel they say quack quack.
Quack quack, right.
It's not even close.
Dogs, have.
Woof woof.
Yeah. Yeah. Cows.
It's not like it's
But-
not like oh
Cows moo in both Hebrew and in English.
yeah, but it's only two
Cats
languages.
also meow.
Yeah, it's only two languages though.
Yeah.
Also, cats get around.
That's true.
You know what I was thinking?
No, but we already have a gig, so.
Alright, I had a lot of thoughts.
What were you thinking?
Okay, next time, Marbin Real Talk.
Next episode.
I will talk more about evolution, but of humans and different animals. I had a lot of theories about evolution, as everybody knows. So more about evolution. And then I want to talk, maybe we should say about that. Do we not really know enough time? Because
No,
that is related.
it. Go ahead.
Is related. Well, I guess it's two separate thoughts. So one thing was I read this article about talking about how in Israel all culture is infantile, and even highbrow culture now has to, after a few minutes, just have stupid jokes and talk to children. And the reason is because in Israel everybody has a lot of kids, so everything is about children. But I was thinking about it, that this is one of the reasons why culture is dead here, because there are no children, but there is also no culture for adults.
No.
So the only culture they have is stupid shit like Star Wars
I still remember.
and fantasy and shit like that.
I've mentioned this
For
1,000
grandchildren.
times, but like the vision I have of like, it's kind of like we're about to go to the Four Seasons to play a gig of trashy rich people, of people on the yacht drinking Bud Light, of like, people in a fucking private jet listening to hip hop, like just this total disconnect from being extremely successful and wealthy from high culture that was not a part of any.
Like Andrew Tate talks about all the time, like he doesn't read books because
Yeah.
it's too slow, and he doesn't listen to music.
Right. It's like this disconnect is brand new because the people that could afford the most wanted the best, in previous generations, but now it's literal idiocracy.
Well, not just Bill. Everybody wanted, because you.
Aim
That's
the
another thing I
highest.
say a lot. It's also you bored a lot, so you need to figure out a lot of stuff to do while you're bored. And eventually, when you drink a lot of wine, you eventually don't want to drink more wine.
Right.
It's like it's happened with the food here. Everybody eats out, so now the restaurants are better and the coffee is better. But nobody listens to music in a substantial and interesting way.
Right.
Not as so. So nobody wants music and nobody wants culture for adults, and nobody has it, and it's just terrible. But so that was one thing, and then the last thing, I guess we can talk about more. And the last thing is, I don't get, and that's also as with Jordan Peterson. I just don't understand why would anybody give Jordan Peterson money, and more I don't understand why would anybody see him live.
Oh,
Like him, or I don't know, somebody from the Young Turks, or Ben Shapiro. It's like, what would ever make me go to see that fucker live? I would never see him live. That's what I'm saying?
100%.
And I don't understand it. And when it's too for music,
they don't understand it either. That's why they all lose their mind. They're not supposed to be famous in that way. You know what I mean? That's why he made that
but also
suit.
Adam Neely. It's like, why would somebody talking about music theory is racist would make you want to go see him play a show? That's
No,
what I'm
it doesn't
saying.
make any sense.
Why is it connected? Why is Rick Beato on YouTube so I need to go see Rick Beato? It makes no
Doing a theater tour?
goddamn sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand it. Because I have people that I see on YouTube, I do not want to pay to see them do something that's, even if it was related to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was, hey, come see me do what you see on YouTube
It's
live,
not-
I
yeah.
still don't want to
I
do
mean,
it.
there is something magnetizing about Django Reinhardt or Louis Armstrong or
Like, I would wanna
Charlie
see Van
Parker,
Live.
because it's like, could you imagine that sound coming out of a human being?
In front of
a
you.
human being making those choices in
Yeah, like
front of
comedy
you?
is different. Like somebody that just
Exactly.
just now community. Like if you see somebody that's
100%.
just like a representation of exactly what they do, but it would be much better live. Yeah, then I would want to see it.
Yeah.
But like the thing of like, again, music theory is racist, or like the level why Jacko didn't really improvise make me want to go see that fucker play like weird like trip hop. Like what? Why? But it just shows you
Because people are like, I want to go out. I know this name. This is the guy from the phone.
Yeah, but it shows you, because when I was in my 20s, I was like, what the fuck is going on with culture? I don't get them. Dude, and now I even get them less.
I know, dude. Could you imagine how out of the loop we're going to be in like 5 years? It's incredible.
Or 5 days, yeah.
It's all just sailing farther and farther away. We're like the Eskimo Elvis
You know,
that
it's like
got
the
kicked
same
off.
with, like, of this, like, I don't know which movie it is, but there's the scene of Tom Cruise running from a huge, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, not a, like,
Yeah,
catastrophe.
It's like
The day after tomorrow or something.
yeah.
And that's us, but it's already passing us. We're still running, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, we're
Like when we
we're rough.
started running, it was too late.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like the zombie beat us, and we just our life is like the first 48 hours, and we were just running from the zombies, but we already got bitten before the movie started.
It's 100% true. All right, on that optimistic note, we got a gig, we got to go. We'll see you for the next episode. Bye-bye.